So next we study that we have already learned about how do we identify a chemical reaction. Now how to write a chemical reaction. So this is very much important. Now how will you write a particular chemical reaction? I don't know. Let's see. To write a chemical equation, we use short forms of the elements reacting as well as products forming. No, now, quote unquote, that what are short forms? Short forms basically means that's the chemical symbols that we use. So see, it's not possible for us to write the huge names of compounds and elements all the time, and in examinations we'll not get so much time also, so just for writing our chemical names in compounds. So that is not a process to write a chemical reaction. So generally, to shorten the process, we humans are very much lazy. We don't at all like to write the whole reactions and the whole equations and whole names of the compounds reacting all the time. So that we have already chosen certain small and short forms of the compounds, so that it is easier for us to remember those, to memorize those, and it is also easier for us to represent them in the reaction form. To write a chemical equation, we use short forms of the elements reacting as well as products forming. Therefore, we use chemical symbols to represent the particular element or compound. Now comes the question, why? Why at all do we need to use chemical symbols? This is because it is impossible for us to write the full names of compounds forming during a chemical reaction. Now that's a piece of bit of information that is there. Generally, we write the reactants on the LHS side and products on the right hand side. That is already something that we have already discussed. So firstly, we have taken an example that is Mg plus O2 is gives us MgO. Now this example you will also find in your book. And another piece of information is that a skeletal equation is that which is not balanced. Now, you all might be knowing and know better than me that not skeletal equation, leave that. Why do we need to balance? Let's take that question. Why do we need to balance? Now, see, we already know that we have to make the number of atoms or the number of elements that are reacting to be equal in number on the LHS side as well as RHS side. That is why we need to balance the chemical reaction, and we are all doing it in the same way or the other from class 8 or 9. So we all know how to balance a chemical reaction, but in this chapter we learn the correct process for balancing an for balancing a reaction, and that will be very simple for you to understand. Now, a skeletal equation is that which is not balanced. Means any you take any reaction that is not balanced, any reaction, every each and every reaction is not balanced. Whose work is to balance? That is us. It's the human's work to balance each and every chemical reaction. Otherwise, is it in the nature that all the reactions are occurring with the balancing of carbons and atoms and all? That is not the case. So a skeletal equation is that which is not balanced. So it's a simple process, the how to write a chemical reaction. Sorry. So now we have already learned how to write a chemical reaction. We have already learned what is a chemical reaction, what is a chemical equation and all, how to identify a chemical reaction that is taking place. Now we learn the another part, that is the balancing of chemical equations. So why do we need to balance? First of all, a question that will be always asked in your examinations or in boards, that is, first of all, why do we need to balance a chemical equation? Everyone will ask that, and what will you say? We need to balance the chemical reaction so as to follow the law of conservation of mass. Why? Why law of conservation of mass? What is the need to conserve mass? Let it be in the simple process. We need not to write such long process and then just give ourselves a headache to just uh, put in all the numbers 1 2 4 everything and balance the chemical reaction. But in when we are studying, we need to give importance to every aspect of that subject. Now somebody some great person told that we need to balance a chemical reaction. Why? He or she told that we need to follow the law of conservation of mass. Now, what is the law of conservation of mass? Law of conservation of mass states that mass in an isolated system is neither created nor destroyed. That we have already learned from the childhood. We are already learning these, that mass is an isolated system. In an isolated system, it is neither created nor destroyed. Mass, weight can be gained or lost. Weight and mass is totally different. Mass in an isolated system is neither created nor destroyed. Means it cannot be created also, it cannot be destroyed also. So, what to do? So first condition is it cannot be created nor destroyed by chemical reactions or physical transformations. So we learned that chemical reaction is said to have taken place when there is change in chemical and physical properties. So neither by chemical reactions or by physical transformations we cannot change the the particular mass of a substance. So that basically means that we need to conserve mass. Now how will we do that? The mass of the products in a chemical reaction must equal the mass of the reactants. So basically the mass of the reactants and the mass of the products, to balance it, we need to just increase the number of atoms, okay, or decrease the number of atoms. That is why that is how we need to balance na. That is how we need to balance the chemical reaction. We will increase the number, we'll see whether the particular reactant on the left hand side is balanced with its alternative in in the product side. That is how we are going to balance a particular reaction. And this law was proposed by Antoine Lavoisier. This is a great person who said that every equation needs to be balanced because it has to follow the law of conservation of mass. Like law of conservation of energy, law of conservation mass states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, mass can neither be created nor destroyed. This is the simple funda that is applying here. Then steps to balance a chemical reaction. So I already promised you that I'll give a simple process to balance a chemical reaction. What is that? First, let's draw a box. Suppose we have taken the equation Fe plus H2O. Fe stands for iron, H2O for water, Fe3O4 for ferrous sulfate, and H2 for hydrogen, that is liberating. Now, first we'll draw boxes around each. I might be wrong in my representation, but I could just do this much only for just to help you understand. So if it's if it's even not enough, please don't mind it. So Fe plus H2O gives us Fe3O4 and H2. Let's take that simple equation. No, that will never be given in boxes. This equation will never be given in boxes. It will always be given in a free form, and you have to draw boxes with a pencil. With a pencil, you draw boxes around it so that you can understand that we have to balance this and this products or compounds. Next, what is the second process? That is list the number of elements of each type. The number of elements that are reacting. What are the elements? Number of elements. Fe. Next is H. Next is O. Other than these three, can you see any other element? I cannot see. So Fe, H, and O. These are the elements which are reacting, and we also need to specify the number of elements. That is the number of Fe, number of H, number of O that is reacting. So see in the LHS side, that means in the products in the reactant side, only one Fe is there, two H is there, and one oxygen is there. In the RHS side, that means in the product side, three atoms of Fe are there, two atoms of hydrogen are there, and four atoms of oxygen are there. Now what to do next? Start balancing the compound containing the maximum number of atoms and choose the element having maximum number of atoms. Now, to put it clearly, start balancing the compound cutting the maximum number of atoms. See, it will be much more easier for us to balance the compound containing maximum number of atoms, because when we'll already take into consideration the largest compound or the biggest compound, then we don't have to just consider for the small elements, that is that Fe and H2, that we don't have to consider, because the maximum of the compound that has the maximum number of atoms, if that is balanced, then alternatively and consequently we can balance all the other elements or the products that are remain there, and choose the element having maximum number of atoms. So we have already decided one criteria is to select the compound that is having the maximum number of atoms. Next, in that compound, select that atom which is in the maximum form, which whose atoms which has the maximum number of atoms. So see, first condition, that is a compound containing the maximum number of atoms, that is satisfied by Fe3O4, and the element having maximum number of atoms, that is satisfied by O, oxygen. So atoms of oxygen, initially in the reactant side we have only one, that is in H2O. H2O, it's only one. On the product side, there are four oxygen atoms in Fe3O4. Now to balance, what to do? Multiply that one in H2O. uh it's simply given in H2O, that means the coefficient of oxygen or the coefficient of the compound is 1. Balance that with 4, and in the product side, let it remain the same, because then the oxygen atoms will be automatically balanced. Now, Fe plus 4H2O, that is, we have already put this 4 into the consideration. We have put this 4 in the place of H2O. Now, what to consider here? We cannot put that 4 as a suffix of oxygen or as a power of oxygen. That is not at all allowed. When you are multiplying 4 atoms or multiplying a particular molecule or a compound into 4, the whole compound is getting multiplied 4 times, not a particular atom. If we multiply it by 4, it generally means that 4 into H2O means H8O4. That generally means that 8 atoms of hydrogen and 4 atoms of oxygen are present there. So, but we cannot write oxygen as a suffix, like H2O4. We cannot write it that, or H2O to the power raised 4. We cannot write like that. That is not allowed. Now, the fourth step is that balance the atom still not balanced. Now we have already balanced the largest compound and the atom that is in the highest form, that is oxygen. So this is already balanced. Now atom still not balanced, it is Fe and H2. In this case we have taken H. Let's take H. Initially there are 8. Now see, after and now we need to consider only the second equation, that is Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus H2. Here initially there are 8 hydrogen atoms in 4H2O. 8 in 4H2O. That means initially there are 8, but in the product side, see, there are only 2. Now what to do? Multiply that by 4. Okay, 2 is an integral multiple of 8, so multiply that with 2 into 4, that will become 8. So that will be 4H2O. See, in the next equation we have already got that. Fe, sorry, I think that is not visible. Yes, now it is visible. That is Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4 plus 4H2. Okay, so this is that 4H2O. Now finally, we need to balance the atom still left to be balanced. Now H is balanced, oxygen is balanced. Now what is the other element? That is Fe. Now balance the Fe atoms. Now finally we balance the Fe atoms. That is, see, now I'm not writing the Fe atoms. Here you can see in the product side is already 3 atoms of Fe, and in the reactant side we just need to now just need to write 3 into Fe. That will become 3 Fe, 4H2O, Fe3O4, and 4H2. So what is the ratio? 3 is to 4 is to 1 is to 4. 3 4 1 4. Okay. Now, after writing the balanced chemical equation, this point is to be taken into consideration. That is, after writing the balanced chemical equation, we need to specify their states, means in which state they are present. Here, the Fe is present is in solid form. Suppose H2O, H2O is in here. The H2O is not in liquid form. Here, the iron is just heated in the presence of vaporized in the presence of vaporized water. That is, this H2O is in gaseous form. This is S, Fe3O4, and H2 gas liberated. Okay, to specify the states and other information regarding relating to catalyst use. Suppose we have not used catalysts here, but in decomposition reaction we will learn that we use a catalyst that is heat. Okay, so we'll just specify a small triangle, a delta sign. That is the that indicates that indicates that we have used heat to decompose that. Temperature, we also mentioned temperature, atmospheric pressure, and etc.